The member for Macarthur.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, I've been contacted by a constituent concerned about the flood tax. He is a police officer under the age of 60 who is due to retire in the next financial year. His flood tax liability on his lump sum taxable superannuation payout is $6,500. Did the Prime Minister realise that people under the age of 60 who happen to be retiring next financial year will be slugged so heavily, or is this just a cup of coffee a week?
The Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for his question. And what I would say to the member is we have structured the flood levy through the taxation system, and so the taxation system obviously does work, looking at what people earn during a financial year, and consequently it is calibrated with income, and that's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. That is how we structure burdens in our society, because we structure burdens on the basis that people who have the capacity to pay more should pay more. Now, in making that design of the flood levy, we did it deliberately. So those with additional capacity would pay more. And what I would also say to the member is it does seem to me, as we look at these questions from the opposition, a little bit odd indeed, because what people may think watching this debate is that we may be looking at two alternate packages to fund the recovery and rebuilding that is necessary around the nation. But of course that's not true. There's the government's $5.6 billion package, savings, deferrals, and asking Australians for a contribution. With that contribution calibrated against income. So higher income earners pay more. People who earn less than $50,000 a year don't pay anything. People earning $60,000 a year pay less than $1 a week. And people like the shadow treasurer who are interjecting at the moment pay more, as they should.
Her seat. Order. Both sides of the House will come to order. The Manager of Opposition Business on a point of order.
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister was asked whether she realised if average taxpayers would be slugged in this way. If the answer is no, she should say no and just sit down.
The member will resume his seat. Order. The member for Goldstein. In the framing of questions, it would assist if people want the answers to be confined and directly relevant, if they contained less argument. And if those that are framing the questions want me to tighten up on the argument, I'm happy to do so. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker, and I was talking about financing rebuilding the nation. The government's package of $5.6 billion, including the levy, versus an alternative that simply doesn't stack up. Indeed, so fragile is it. So fragile is that it's opposed by the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, and members of the backbench have been out saying that they do not support elements of it. So fragile is it. So the only proposal before the Parliament to rebuild the nation is the government's...
The Prime Minister will resume her seat while I give some guidance to those that obviously, because of sometimes my fragile control of English, if the question goes on to talk about the cost of cups of coffee, it widens and allows me, I think, to allow debate. And I'm just simply saying to those that frame questions, if they want me to be in the position to narrow the responses, they could assist me by narrowing the questions. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. So there is only one package before the Parliament to rebuild the nation. How has the levy been designed? Well, it bears design characteristics like the East Timor levy proposed by the Howard government. The member has raised with me the question of superannuation. This is the East Timor levy the Leader of the Opposition supported. The member's raised with me the question of superannuation, and I can advise him of the following. Lump sum superannuation payments for over 60s from a tax superannuation fund are exempt from tax and are also exempt from the levy. This covers the vast bulk of superannuants, but people should talk to their superannuation fund about whether a particular payment is untaxed. Can I also say to the member who's asked the question, and members opposite, at some point they're going to have to face the decision here. When playing the politics is gone, will they stand up for the national interest? I'm being criticised today for not enough exemptions. The member for Maranoa.
The Prime Minister resumed his seat. The member for Macarthur on a point of order.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The point is on clarification. The question was asked in relation to superannuation payments under 60.
Resume his seat. The member for Macarthur will resume his seat. Order. Order. Manager of Opposition Business, amongst other things, sought a point of order on the basis of direct relevance. And I've actually ruled on that. People may not like my ruling. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm being criticised for not enough exemptions, but the member for Maranoa said this morning that he's been asked by someone in Balcalden, well, look, if it's one in, all in, why are some people exempt? And he's criticising us for too many exemptions. Just goes to show this is the opposition all over the place again. Just goes to show that criticisms brought to this Parliament are all about the politics, not about the interests of Australians. At some point, the opposition needs to make a decision. Do they stand for the national interest or just their political interest? We can see the shallow answer on display today.
The Prime Minister's time has expired. The member for